Well, I'm biased that my favorite Shir episode is one that I wrote. It's called Loki Lends a Hand. That was an odd one because I really didn't like the character of Loki. I thought it was a trite gimmick that was added just to try to get kids to pay attention during the show and have some sort of fun game. I didn't really like it at the time. And I remember that I had been pitching some story ideas to Arthur Nadell, the head of the writing department. And he didn't like any of my ideas. So he said to me, "How about you write a show about Loki?" And I went, oh, I did not want to do that. But then Arthur said, "I tell you what, you can make it a He-Man crossover." Well, that got my attention. I said, I'll do it. So I wrote the story about Loki being enlisted by Light Hope to fetch He-Man because the Horde had smuggled in a time stop device into the rebel camp and had frozen all the characters. And so Loki, being a creature of magic, was immune. So Light Hope sent him to Eternia to fetch He-Man. But the time stop device was interfering with the dimensional portal. And instead of appearing in the royal palace, he appears in Snake Mountain, falls on Skeletor and smashes Skeletor's face into his table. Did I enjoy doing this story? Oh, yes, I did. I get asked this a lot. Stinkor was a favorite toy of many kids, and we did reject the character. At the beginning of the development of the Shir series, the writing department took a field trip to Mattel's headquarters, and we were presented with the toys, the Shira girl characters, and the Horde monster evil characters. And as each one was trotted out, then there was this skunk character called Stinkor. And the toy actually stinks. Has patchouli, I think, on it that gave it an odor. Arthur Nadell immediately said no. In his opinion, there were only two skunk characters that ever worked in animation. The character of Flower the skunk in Walt Disney's Bambi movie, and Warner Brothers' Pepe Le Pew, the lovesick skunk who would always chase after cats. He complained that if we put Stinkor in there, he'd be a running fart joke and be gassing everybody. So we said, no. And so that's why Stinkor did not make it into the show. This is a very intriguing question. Many fans believe that Micah was the Red Knight. And I have to say, I wish he could have been. The Red Knight was not written by me. It was written much earlier. And I was actually not aware of the story when I wrote Micah of Bright Moon. I needed to explain why he wasn't around. So I had him imprisoned on the Horde prison planet. So he wasn't even on Etheria when the Red Knight was there. In retrospect, it would have been better if he was the Red Knight. But no, he was nowhere around. You'd have to ask the writer of that script. To my shame, that had to be written. We had turned Shira's sword into everything, from a rope to a bola to an ice maker to who knows what, because we couldn't have weapons be used as weapons at this time in the 1980s. There was a lot of backlash from parent groups about violence in children's programming, so we had to soft pedal everything. Well, I had this scene in which Shira needed to capture Hunga the Harpy. And we tried a bunch of different things. The closest thing was sword to net. But in animation, having all those lines to create a net was just a nightmare. So I was pitching different ideas, and everyone Arthur shot down. And then I made a dreadful mistake. I responded sarcastically. Well, I could make it sword to blanket. Arthur thought for a moment and said, blankets are soft. They're warm. They're fuzzy. They're non-threatening. I like it. Make it sword to blanket. And I went, oh, no, please, not that. Yes, let's do it. And so I trudged back to my office and hammered out sword to blanket on my typewriter. And I've been apologizing for it ever since. By the time Shir came out, there were so many other productions from Marvel, from Hanna-Barbera, from Disney, flooding the market with new programming. Shir was popular enough to get a second season, but the stations made it clear they didn't want another 65 episodes. And so we did pretty much a half season. And I wish we could have done more, but that's all we got to do.